Hey, team. Welcome back to another episode of the Jenn Commandments podcast. I am your host, Jenn Wien. I'm an engineer currently working in Wisconsin. I grew up in the Chicagoland area and I went to college in Michigan. Hey, how are y'all? I hope you all are doing very well. Today is Thursday. Weird week. I've been coming up on this podcast here and saying I'm tired of summer for like the last 3 or 4 weeks. It feels like, but I do want y'all to know that I really do enjoy going and hanging out, and like this is a summer that I've really taken to figure, just like I don't know, figure some shit out, and I've been having a lot of fun. So I'm very grateful. This upcoming weekend is my last weekend traveling for a while. So very grateful for that. But I am really this weekend is like the best. I am so excited for this weekend. I get to hang out with the girls. Supposed to be recording a couple episodes, so I get to interview some really cool people. Um, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes. The interview process is very intimate, sort of like, so it's like fun to be like, yes, I want to do this thing, but then when it actually comes to doing it, it is so nerve-wracking. Especially if this is something that you've never tried before, like public speaking in any sort of like real capacity where you're like, you are in charge of being a part of the conversation, like that's part of your role. And as somebody who, sorry, Dante's friends must be outside. I don't know if I've told this on the pod before, but yeah, Dante, he gets to like go out on the balcony. I have like a very big balcony. I honestly don't take advantage of the balcony that I have. Like I should really like go to the thrift and like get some pieces to like make it homey out there, and I just haven't so far, and I'll get to it. I think that it's going to be so hard for me to leave this apartment, so I do see myself being able to furnish it at some point. I've like, with being able to come home so frequently, and like mind you, I I think this summer I also just realized that like I do have such a big community back home that like regardless if I'm talking to my family or not, I have a community back home that like if and when I ever need to stay. I think at the beginning of the year I felt so alone in the world. And this summer has really catapulted me into this new like confidence of like, you are an adult and you can conduct yourself as such, and like you're gonna be okay. I think that for I think that's the coolest part that I've noticed about 25 plus is that I have just come into my own and sort of have this new sort of confidence of, oh, I can do it and it's going to be okay. And yeah, so I don't know. I still obviously want to move home eventually. I do think that I bleed Chicago, and like unfortunately, like as much as I don't as much as I am scared of home, I do think that like my heart won't be fully content until I know that like I can be closer to the people that I would like to be closer to, and like help be a part of their lives and support them and like support their families and be like an active member of their village. And like they can be a part of mine. So I don't know. I do know that it's something that I would like to do, but I don't know if it's going to be in my 20s, you know? So, like, that's another thing that I've been sort of coming to terms with. I think it will, like, I think I could move to the city. I think the city's still removed enough for me, and it's still sort of like a pain in the ass to get to me, that I could manage the city. But like, the thought of being in the south suburbs still absolutely terrifies me. For more than, like, a weekend. So that's something that I'm working through. But yeah, so that's the tea on that. I've been really enjoying, to, like, reiterate, uh, I've been really enjoying my trips. I've really been enjoying my apologies, reconnecting with my village that, like, I want to be a part of, Anywho, what I was thinking for today was, I want to talk about my top 5 concert experiences. Now, if you know me, you know that concerts have, like, live music in general is very, very important to me. Like, um music is the reason why I'm alive. And I music has impacted me and the people I love in ways that, like, not many other forms of art, I think, are capable of, impacting people. And yeah, so live music, live music, I think, in part is important to me too, because I also grew up in church. And so, like, live music was like a part of my weekly, routine. And, like, a lot of my brother is musical. I grew up, like, with my brother playing guitar in the house very often. And, like, I don't know, live music has just been always something that's been a part of my life, um in various ways. So, um, my first ever concert was Demi Lovato. It was I want to say it was my sophomore year of high school, but it could have been my freshman year too. Um, I don't exactly remember right now, but that was my first ever concert. Um, it does not make this list. I do think Demi Lovato was, like, a great live performer. I don't know what tour. That was probably the Tell Me You Love Me tour, because then I also went and saw the Cool for the Summer tour, probably. And I want to say that's probably the last time she toured. She might have done, like, a mini tour when she came out with Holy Fuck also. But yeah, love her down. Demi, if you know me, you also know that I was obsessed with Demi Lovato. But we're going to do my top 5 list. But before we can get to the top 5 lists, I do have 2 honorable mentions. Now, for me, concert experiences, there's, like, a number of criteria. Okay. The first one being, um, the actual performance, right? So, like, the artists, the band, whoever, how they perform, are they a good live performer, et cetera, et cetera. Second is, like, outfits, pyrotechnics, like, special effects, that sort of thing. Because some of these make the list, or brought, like, it got brought over the edge because of those things. And then also, I also have to consider, because I'm a feelings girl, I have to consider, like, what was happening around me, who I was with, why the experience was so important to me. So we're so, like, we're going to be talking about all of this. So there might be, like, experiences on here where you're talking less about the artist and more about the experience. And I want to just put in the back of your head that this is my top 5 concert experience list, okay? So the criteria is whatever the fuck I want it to be, okay? So keep that in the back of your fucking heads. All right. So our first honorable mention is I went and saw Drake and Future at the Summer 16 tour in Chicago in 2016. Now, I want to preface this story by saying I was a little bit of a player in high school. Okay. Like, that's what I want to preface this. Well, I think we've established throughout the podcast that, like, when it comes to men, I've done and been questionable. Like, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that every man that I've ever been with has been the best partner I've ever had. But I'm also never going to sit here and say that I was either. Okay. so, so the tea around the Drake and Future concert is as follows. Okay. A week before, so mind you, Summer 16 is the summer between my junior and senior year of high school. And I want you to picture this. Okay. I was dating a man who was 2 years older than me, who had, we'll do a whole other episode someday about like the crazy shit that I've demanded men to do in order to get back into my good graces. Like in the prime of my like really toxic girl shit. Like, um, we could get to that another day. But okay, so I was dating this man in high school who was 2 years older than me and like clearly hated my guts. Okay. And like I hated his too. And that's really what I'm gonna leave it at for now. And the tea is like we broke up a week before Drake and Future. Okay. And I bought our tickets for Drake and Future, and it was like a gift to this man. Hi, thank you for being the world's shittiest boyfriend. I spent every dollar that I've made at my slinging ice cream, bitch. Like I was in that bitch slinging, okay? And every last cent that I had made that summer basically went to this stupid fucking concert. And he broke up with me a week before it. Now, tell me why this bitch, tell me why he texts me after he broke up with me and thinks that we're still going to go to the concert together. I had already made plans to go to the concert with who I decided was going to be my next boyfriend. So, first of all, I had to tell this man, no, we're not going to the concert together anymore. Right? That was a separate conversation. So, his friend then, my ex-boyfriend at the time, well, ex-boyfriend still currently, um his friend reaches out to me and is like, hey, um can I buy these tickets from you? And I'm like, sorry, I already decided I was going with someone else. And like um and I did. And I ended up dating him probably what, a month and a half later. Now, am I proud of that? Was that my proudest fucking moment? No, but it is cunty. And I like stand by that woman. I stand by 17-year-old me 1,000%. Right? Go get your bag. Okay. And so okay. Now we've established that I'm going to this concert with a man that I like. Okay. So in addition to the fact that I had already decided that he was going to be my boyfriend at some point, this was also the man that I had told my ex-boyfriend not to worry about. Okay. God, Um and like our moms had to meet beforehand. I took my mother's car, like my single mother, our only mode of transportation. She allowed her 17-year-old daughter to take a date up to the United Center to go see Drake and Future for the Summer 16 tour. And mind you, I didn't really like rap at the time. Like, I was still in my pick me ass bitch phase where like I would just like whoever like was my object of affection. I chameleon the fuck out of myself to like try to make myself to be whatever I thought that they wanted me to be. And so like I had no real sense of self until I went to college. And so like I didn't like rap music because like the mind you, like my ex-boyfriend was into rap music, but like I said, I didn't fucking like him. So I was into other kinds of music for other men. Okay. Um I had a lot going on in high school. But that had to make the list in my opinion, just because I feel like the Summer 16 tour is such an iconic tour. We had an excellent time. Like he and I were so nervous because we were both like, this was probably both of our like first real date with somebody that we weren't already dating. Like when you were in high school and shit, like you didn't really go on dates with people you weren't already like planning on dating or whatever. And so like this was one of the first like real dates I'd ever been on. We like I don't even really remember the concert just because I was so nervous the whole time. And like, we stopped at McDonald's afterwards. We like talked in the car. It was just like a very nice time. And after like the train wreck that I had been through like 2 weeks prior or whatever, like, it was just the best end of summer thing and like propelled me into my senior year of high school where I was like, okay, everything's going to be okay and I'm going to be okay. And like I shout him out all the time, like despite the fact that I was a terrible person to a man who was a terrible to me, the guy that I took to the concert, he was such like a stabilizing factor in my life. So I just like it was so nice to bring him, and like that is really how our relationship started. So it started like Drake and Future at the Summer 16 tour started like my first good relationship. So shout out Drake and Future. You guys are toxic as shit, and I sort of hate both of you, but shout out the Summer 16 tour. You know what I mean? Now, the next story also paints me in a shitty light. So the second honorable mention is about okay. So it is the Day to Remember concert that took place at UIC Pavilion in 2018. Oh, okay. To understand my lore a little bit more now. So this was in 2018. So I would have been a freshman in college. I would have still been technically dating the boy who I started dating in the last story. I was still dating him technically, but we're sort of already on the downward spiral. Like I think because we both really just needed stability. Once we got stability, we were like, okay, you know, and so I don't know. I went to this concert with like one of my queer besties at the time and then this other boy who like I don't want to say I had like a situationship with, but like we had a very intimate relationship that probably wasn't appropriate for the fact that I was dating somebody. Like I had felt more comfortable to call this guy when I was like drunk walking home back to my dorm room than I was to call like my own boyfriend. And so and so like there was just some blurred lines and like I was going to a concert with him and my bestie. You know what I mean? And so I was like in addition I was like wildly depressed my freshman year of college. We've talked about that a little bit where I really struggled my first year. And yeah, I don't know. I came home to go to this concert and the theme, okay, first of all, if you've never gone to like a hard rock or a metal concert, I really think you should go. Even if you don't like metal, even if you don't like hard rock or you don't think that you would like it, I think the amount of like energy and effort is just so palatable, and like I don't know, it is I enjoy those types of concerts probably more than I enjoy any other type of concert, just cuz it is just so the energy is so like thick, you know? Like it just feels so exhilarating in my opinion. But anyway, so we show up, we go, we have a really really good time. I remember like looking back at pictures, I don't even look like myself. Like I can tell that I was really depressed. I remember at this time like I was so depressed and I had gained weight. I had gained like my freshman whatever, and it was more than 15. Like I had gained weight my freshman year of college, and so like bras didn't even like fit me, so I wasn't wearing bras anywhere. It was just like sort of I was in just a really terrible headspace. Like I could tell my boyfriend didn't like me, um but like neither of us would break up with each other. It was just like not working, nothing was working anymore. um but this concert was really great. One, A Day to Remember is excellent live. And second, their pyrotechnics and their like concert theme was like grungy Mario themed, and like all of the backdrops showed just like weird Mario Kart. Like it was very well done. Um, and I don't know, looking back, like that concert was so important to me. One, because I got to hang out with some of my best friends, regardless if there was like overstepping of boundaries or not. Like both of these men were like very important to me at some point in my life. Um, and also, I just like, I needed the support so desperately. Um, because like when I left college after my freshman year, I really was like, if this is crazy like this again next year, like I cannot move forward with going to college. So I don't know. It was a good time. We had a good time. So yeah, that's the tea on that. I said, a day to remember with a cute boy from my summer job, and one of my queer besties ought to solve my problems, right? Unfortunately, the story doesn't paint me in the best light, but also it was a great concert, so I have to tell it anyway. I'm pretty sure Papa Roach opened for them, and I swear to God, I've seen Papa Roach in concert more than I've seen any other band or artist. Them bitches be working. And then I talked about like the grungy Nintendo, and the music was really good. Music was excellent. I realized I knew more Day to Remember songs than I thought I would. Like I knew at least half of the concert, and I'm not really somebody who listens to like hard. I certainly will have like phases where I'll listen to hard music, but I was like proud, you know. So yeah, that's my second honorable mention. So now let's get into my top five. So the first one, or five, okay, five is Tyler the Creator at the Chromacopia tour in Milwaukee in 2025. So this was this year. I've been to, there's a couple concerts that have been in like the last year or so. So I've gone to like a lot of really good concerts in the last couple years. This is one of them. Um I don't know, dude. Tyler is a visionary. Tyler is, in my opinion, one of the coolest creatives of our time. Um and I like, I think what he allows for the other creatives of the world is to see an example of somebody who like truly stands in their purpose and like fully goes into their vision. Like he doesn't wait or expect other people to get it for him to know that his art has value. And I think that that's something that's just so very clear in the way that he presents himself and in the way that he presents his music. And I think Chromacopia specifically as an album is very transparent and it's very vulnerable, while also honoring the fun parts of like black culture, I guess. Um, but still talking about the things that he struggled with. Like he just honors all part everything that he does is like a full presentation of who Tyler the Creator is. And I think that that's super cool. You can see and you can feel a Tyler the Creator product. And I think it's so cool to witness an artist brand themselves in a very what feels authentic way. Um and yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have much more to say on it. It was such a fun concert. Um we were next to like two like nerdy boys and they knew every song. Like I knew most of the songs, but they knew like every song, even going back to Wolf. Like they were stoked to be there, dude. And like, yeah, it was cute. It was fun to be there. It was fun to experience. And I love Milwaukee, so I love looking for any excuse to go, truly. So that's number 5. Now, number 4 is Bring Me the Horizon in Seattle in 2019. Okay. To preface, if you don't know already, like grunge music and that sort of like not whiny metal, but like that sort of music was sort of created in Seattle. And so to be able to go to, not that Bring Me the Horizon is grungy, but like to go to a hard rock concert in a place where it feels like that genre is really celebrated and welcomed was so fun. Um so in 2019 during my fall break I went to Seattle with one of my besties. And she is like a metal fan. I like we've talked about, like I'm not really like a metal fan for real, but I will go to a show. And I'm pretty sure we missed it. We missed most of it because I took a nap. And like didn't get my shit together. But Poppy actually opened for them. Um and I want to say it was Sleeping with Sirens that also played, but I don't remember now. But it was like a stacked lineup. And I really enjoyed so it took place. I don't remember the venue name right now, but it took place in this venue that almost felt like a high school gymnasium also, like so it really felt like a battle, like it was a huge battle of the bands, but like it felt like there's just like this big open warehouse space sort of. And Bring Me the Horizon, if you don't know, also puts on like a miraculous show. Like what's that man's name? Ollie Sykes. That bitch can sing. Okay. Like he does an excellent job. He is just like a stellar performer. And he like ran around the whole gymnasium floor. Like it was such a fun experience. And I got to experience it across the country from home with one of my best friends. And it was like, I was 20 at the time and she was 19. So like we were babies and like alone in a city across the country. Like it was just such a holy shit. we're doing, we're living experience. And everyone is so nice. Like it was so fun. That's one of I obviously it's in this list, but that's one of my favorite concert experiences I've ever had. Um and I put in here too, like, Bestie and I went, and we were like absolutely broke and had no business being in Seattle. Like, like, to be honest, like, we were broke college students. Neither of us had like any money to our name, and we ate McDonald's most of the time we were there. But like, I don't know, we had a really really good time. That was one of the first like adult things that I did. Well, that's a lie. It was right after China. Like, I had gone to China. It was a couple months after. And like I had gotten the travel bug, you know? And yeah, definitely one of the best concert experiences I've ever had. Which brings me to number 3. Okay. So, number 3, we have Chapel Roan at Lollapalooza in 2014. And like for this one, it feels more like I was at like a historical event for Chicago. More like certainly I think Chaperone put on like a stellar performance, and I think that she is like a her persona and the way that she truly just like owns her stage presence, I think, is sort of unparalleled for a young artist. Like, I know that she's been in the game for a long time, but like the big influx and like rise to fame that she has, I think would be enough to make anyone insecure and like feel imposter syndrome. And I think that she has, at least, obviously she's like acted out and shit, but like I think that she truly tries to put on, and she puts on a very brave face every time she performs. And I think that Lollapalooza was obviously like one of those experiences. So I said let's just give a little commotion for the outfit. It was like a sumo wrestler outfit. She looked so good. She was put on. She originally she was supposed to play at the smaller stage of the stages that she played at. So she played at like the big pop stage. It's usually right next to the like the EDC stage. Whatever, the electric dance stage. It's the one next to that. And originally Chapel was supposed to just perform at the smaller stage, but she had rose to fame so quickly, and so like that they had to switch her over, and it was still like the biggest recorded audience for Lollapalooza's history, which raises some issues like about crowd control, which raises some like, in light of like Astro World and like other big festival mishaps. Like, I think that that's something that Lollapalooza will need to keep a bigger and better eye on moving forward, just because it is in like the dead of Chicago summer. And like it is a bunch of high school kids doing hard drugs for like maybe the first time. um like that is like the main, not the main Lollapalooza like thing, but like it is a very common Lollapalooza thing. So if you ever plan on going, like, have fun, but also know that that's sort of what you're going to interface with while you're there. And you'll interface with plenty of like grown adults doing hard drugs too, but like just be prepared that like they also will be young and annoying too. So that's the tea on that. I'm pretty sure I've publicly talked shit about Chapel being a little off color with the way she picks and chooses how she advocates for things. However, I think overall I'm a Chapel fan, and especially during this time, like, me and the girls were obsessed with Chapel Roan during this time. I'm still pretty like, I listened to Rise and Fall of Midwest Princess. I probably listen to a track of it at least once a week. Even still, like, I do think that body of work is probably in my top 10 albums. Like, it start to finish, it is just so encapsulating of a woman who grew up in like a small Midwestern town, feeling suffocated by it, trying to leave, feeling suffocated by the rest of the world, like, or feeling like you're drowning in the rest of the world, but like both are terrible. Like, I think she just does such a good job of tackling and discussing emotions that I think a lot of small town girls who dream for bigger or whatever and like feel, so um I loved this Lollapalooza I wrote. I was so nervous to go back after I had such a rough experience there the year before. So to rewrite that and with like to rewrite that with one, people who like I felt safe enough around that I showed them my hometown and my home, I think is one crazy. Like, other than them, I think I've only ever brought like one other person inside of my hometown house from college. And I don't know, it's just not something like a bit. So much of me felt like ashamed of where I grew up for a really long time. One, because of like my extended family always like constantly telling me that it was like the ghetto and whatever, but like just because I know that so many of my peers from college like had more growing up than I did, I just feel like it would be like, I don't know, disappointing to show them where I grew up. So I don't know. It just meant a lot to me. And then like the Chaperone set in specific was like probably one of my favorite sets from the weekend. Um and just spending the whole weekend with them was just fun, so yeah, very grateful. That was my number 3 set. My last sentence for that little snippet was, I'm so glad I got to experience it in my fave city in the world with some of my fave gals. So cute. um for number 2 of my top 5 concert experiences, I have Kendrick and SZA opening night of the Grand National Tour in Minneapolis in 2025. This was one of the concerts I've been most excited for ever in my whole life. Like, to know me is to know that like I love Kendrick Lamar in a way that's like concerning. I love that man. In my head, he like does no wrong, even though I know that's not true. Um, I love Kendrick and I love SZA. SZA SOS was like truly one of the only things that got me through being in Oregon. I listened to SOS every time I got into the car when I lived in Oregon, while I was heartbroken, while I was like devastated. Like, SOS got me through some of the darkest moments of my life. And the way that SZA can talk about grief in such a one like girly pop and fucked up way, where it's like all of those things are true, but like they are fucked up. But like I do think that talking about the ugly side of grief, the like I fucked him to forget you, bitch. Like not even just that, but like I think that she talks about her experiences in such a way, and I don't mean like lack shame in like a derogatory way. I just mean that like, yes, take the shame out of the ugly parts of life, because everyone experiences the ugly parts of life, and like the less that we like dance around those ugly parts, I think the quicker that we can all, I don't know, like join in community with one another. um and like help each other to like improve and shit, like I just think that there's ways for us to learn from Miss SZA. um and I don't know, for it to be opening night of like, they're very obviously like very important tour to both of them. I think they're both in different peaks of their careers. Like I don't even think that Kendrick is. I certainly think that Not Like Us it was very popular, but I wouldn't say that that's like the been the pinnacle of his career this far. I would say that like I don't know, To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn probably trump um the this era, but I think what's so clear to me about Kendrick and SZA right now is that they're truly living authentically in their purposes. Whether that be their forms of activism and their forms of like helping their communities, like the music industry or whatever, or like helping women talk about the ugly parts of grief, or like, I don't know. I think what they do is excellent work. Don't. And I don't know, I'm very grateful for them. Dante's getting pissed, so we got to hurry up. The last and final, my favorite concert experience ever, my top concert experience is seeing Hobo Johnson at Lollapalooza in 2019. This was my Lollapalooza in 2019 was my first ever Lollapalooza. I've been to three. I've been to three Lollapaloozas. That was my first one. Um, and this was my very first set at my very first Lollapalooza. And mind you, I didn't know who Hobo Johnson was at all. I think the reason why I went to Lollapalooza was like Ariana Grande was headlining, and like we sort of talked about, like my best friend at the time, that was like her favorite artist. Okay. Best friend at the time was crazy, but like she was my bestie at the time. Like we were inseparable. Um, but one of her besties that we were also going with was obsessed with Hobo Johnson. So she was like, we have to go, we have to go. And I was like, okay, okay. I was sort of skeptical. And like it was early as fuck in the day. I'm pretty sure we got on the train to get to Chicago at like 10:30 in the morning. Like which means that we were like up and putting on Lollapalooza makeup at like 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Like glitter. Like we were in it to win it. Okay. And Hobo, if you ever get the opportunity to go to a Hobo Johnson concert, I highly, highly suggest. He is the most charming, um, him and the band, in like endearing, caring, like truly give a fuck about what they're doing artists that I have ever seen live. Like I can feel through the concert that like they truly believe in what they're doing. They're having a good time, even if they're tired, even if like whatever, like they're exhausted from touring or whatever, that they truly believe in what they are working on together. And they believe in the work and the advocacy that they do and talking through the hard feelings and all the shit, because like a lot of the critique about Hobo Johnson is that like he's cheesy, he's corny. And like I just I just implore you to like, I don't know, lean into the vulnerability and lean into like what you perceive as cheesy and corny. Cause like, does it just make you uncomfortable that somebody is being really honest about their feelings about something, you know? And like, it was bright as fuck outside. The set was at like noon. And when I tell you this man made me cry openly in Grant Park during Lollapalooza, like I was crying because of this man's like artistry. And this was my first time I'd ever interfaced with Hobo Johnson ever. And just like how you can be so clearly doing what you're supposed to be doing that you can get like a random stranger to feel and understand your story enough that they like cry with you about it, I think is just so powerful. And so you are certainly doing like your life's purpose, you know? And so like that specific set really, I, I don't want to say that it like shifted the way that I view music, but like it changed a lot of my music. Like I had weird like music taste always, but I don't know. I think that it just made me open to more, and it like showed me how honest that you can be about the things that you go through, and it doesn't have to be all metaphors. Like you can straight up be like, no, this shit was crazy, you know? And I don't know. I would look past, if you've never listened to Hobo Johnson, like past Peach Scone, I would give it a rip, if you ever have the time. So that is like my top 5 concert experiences with some honorable mentions. Um, I do want to note that I've also seen Nicki Minaj. I've also seen Meg the Stallion more than once, and I've seen SZA. And I want you to know that like I much prefer SZA and Meg over Nicki. Nicki also put on a great show, but like there's been beef lately, so I just wanted to let y'all know what my opinion is on that. I will support all the girls. I'm like an OG Barb. Like I was my besties in high school were Barbs for real. So like I'm a Barb adjacent. I probably always have been, but I'm not super impressed with her as of late, you know. Um who else have I seen? I've seen Jack Harlow, which was pretty good. I've seen Miley Cyrus, which was crazy. She's also a wicked performer. I just don't I love her music, obviously. It just didn't make the list. Yeah. But I don't know. Go see some concerts if you can. Um very important to me. And yeah, Dante's mad. He wants me to play with him, so I gotta go do that. But I will be traveling this weekend, so I had to fit this in beforehand. Make sure y'all was gonna get something. So I love y'all very much. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what your favorite concert is in the comments below. Um, I don't tell y'all to like and subscribe very often, but if you could find it in your heart, um, I would greatly benefit and greatly appreciate. So thank you so much. I love you. Wash your face and drink some water.